How is everyone? Great to have you join us. For those I haven't met before, I'm Dinesh De Silva. I'm the CEO of NetStripes. Now, today's topic is a very important topic because it done correctly, Google Ads can become a huge engine of growth. But if it's not done correctly, it can bleed money. So it is a double-edged sword that we have to be very careful with, but it's a very powerful one. Let me now share my screen and go directly into my presentation because, as usual, I have a lot to cover. So let's start with a quick introduction of Google Ads. Most of you know what Google Ads are. Most of you are using Google Ads. Google Ads, in fact, is a platform that most people can go and do an ad. But because of the complexity of the platform, unfortunately, a lot of people lose money because it's hard to get a result. But the brilliance of Google Ads is that nearly everybody uses Google search to search for products and services. And unlike when you're on Facebook, you go to social media like Instagram or TikTok, you're not really there. Or even if you're on YouTube, you're not there looking to buy something. You're there because you're relaxing. You're trying to connect with some friends or see what your friends are doing. But when you go to Google, you have absolute intent because you want something, you're searching for something. So buyers are there with intent. And these buyers, if we can connect with them, that they're extremely valuable to us because high intent buyers are those high quality leads for us, right? So it's perfect for small and medium enterprises who want a scalable way, but a trackable, quantifiable way to grow their business. You can do it budget friendly if you're careful, but if you're not, it can bleed money, as I mentioned earlier. Google Ads also, since of last few years, use a lot of AI and can be helpful, but at the same time, I have a question mark there because it can spend a lot of money at the same time. So again, we got to be cautious. It's about expertise. Most of you know what a Google ad looks like. When you put a Google search ad, as you can see here, it comes at the top. In this case, I'm saying car loan Sydney, and there are 4 ads before the organic search are shown. So this is the beauty of the Google ads. They are very clearly evident. So these companies here are competing with each other. It's pretty competitive, as you can see. And depending on the keyword, because each keyword has a cost. So depending on the keyword, it can be cheap or it can be highly costly. And that cost is based on competition. So Google Ads are and can be a double-edged sword. And it definitely is a pay-per-click platform. So if you put the wrong keywords and people are clicking on them, they come to your website, you're paying for it. So you've got to be super careful. However, when used well, it can be a huge growth engine. So we're going to really structure it properly. And that's what I'm going to discuss today. How do we structure our PPC campaigns in a way we can achieve success? It's dangerous in the wrong hands because you can manage it completely wrong and spend a lot of money. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are also giving us wrong advice, and that's a huge issue. Google Ads, while they're simple to set up, I don't recommend them as a DIY tool because it's a pretty complex platform. The more AI and the more tools and the more options that they provide you with, the more complex it becomes because of the number of variables you need to get right. So it takes expertise. We've done several blogs on Google Ads. These were done last year. And these are done with our subject matter experts and us and our copywriters working together. Go and read them. Here's one of them. Jen will share it on the link. So that's it, Jen. Thank you for doing that. And please read them. So go and click on that, save it for later. No, please don't read it now because there's a lot that I want to go through with you. So before we start an ad, right, we got to know what's our objective. Do we want leads or we want to get sales directly? You might have a form on your website. Do you want somebody to come there and fill that form? Or do you want somebody to call you? So, if you're in the e-commerce business, you might want sales. So we have clients who are in e-commerce, but what do they want? They want sales, right? So we're directly making sure that their ad spend is creating sales for them online. But a lot of your businesses cannot do that because some of you are mortgage brokers, some of you are builders, some of you are catering businesses, electricians. So what are you looking for? You're looking for leads. You want somebody to come and telephone you or fill a form, and that's what we want. So, choosing that conversion action before you dive in is important. So if you go into Google, it'll ask you when you're creating an ad, it'll present you with a screen like this, and it'll ask you, are you looking for sales, leads, website traffic? Are you trying to drive traffic to your website to create brand awareness and knowledge of your products? Or are you trying to promote an app? Or do you want local store visits? So these are different intentions that from a goal perspective that you want. A lot of the time, some of you may not know, and that's why they have this feature. You can create a campaign without a goals guidance, but through the data, it can lead you to where you want to get to. Again, so that's something you can use as well. So there are quite a few options, but as I said, there are a lot of variables here, and this is just the start. So winning Google Ads structure, if you think about it, the first thing I would ask you to do is try to keep it super simple. So we've decided the campaign objective is lead generation, and say we want to generate leads for an electrician here. So have one ad group per service or product. So if you have 3 services, have 3 different ad groups. So a mistake a lot of people make is everything, all the products and services are within one ad group. So what I'm saying is, I'll show you an example. If you're doing a lead generation campaign for electrician in Sydney, and you're an electrician in Sydney, ad group 1 is emergency electrician. The next one is switchboard upgrades. The next one is lighting installations. So they're different. So have different ad groups. If you chuck them all in one, it doesn't quite work. And then within those ad groups, you can have several ads because you're A/B testing to see which ones are working well, which strategies are working better for you, which copies are, depending on your copywriting and your images, which are working well for you as well. So let's now go to the different types of campaigns. Remember, I said there are a lot of variables here. And this is just another type of variables we have. You're familiar with the search ads. Then we have display ads. We have video ads, which you've seen on YouTube, etc. Shopping ads and performance max ads, demand generation ads. And I'll try to go through each one of them as fast as I can. Search ads are, as we've looked before for car loans, that's what it looks like. It's typically at the top of your search or at the bottom. That's where you typically see your search ads. The display ads, if you go to the financial review, I'm sure right under the masthead, you'll see an ad. But at the same time, you see those ads on the side of these box ads. And then as you keep going, then there are other banner ads that go below, etc. So these are all display ads. So whichever platform you're using, whichever publication you're at, you might see these search ads, display ads coming through. Shopping ads are, so if you want to buy a lawnmower, you go and say, buy a lawnmower in Sydney, you will get these ads, you get the prices, it tells you where, you can do a quick comparison. So this is really good if you're creating a shopping ad for retail businesses. So video ads, you get different types of video ads. So, when you're on YouTube, you get those skippable ads, in stream. Some of them are not skippable, they're really annoying, aren't they? Non-skippable ads. And this is if you don't have a premium account. And then in-feed video ads. Okay, so there you go. So inside the feed, while watching that video, you get these ads coming through. So, and there are other ad types called outstream ads, but I won't go into all of that. So I spoke about Performance Max. Performance Max is an AI-driven type of advertising, but it uses all of the Google's platforms. So search, text ads, Gmail, YouTube, Discover ads, display ads, all of that. And depending on your strategy, it'll go in and display. So let's have a look at Performance Max ads and just understand those pros and cons. So it's an all-in-one solution, as I mentioned. So you don't have to go and pick anything. It based on the AI, it optimizes across all those channels we spoke about, because Google has a huge amount of inventory, and it will use all that inventory. You have less control because it's AI driven, but it also can be quite expensive if it's not used properly. Remember, it's AI driven, so you expect it to be pretty easy. However, there's greater complexity because it requires expertise. It's quite contrarian, right? Because you think, okay, it's AI driven, it should be easy, but it's not, because it can be quite expensive if you don't use it well. Demand generation ads. This is another type of ad. Now, if you think about demand generation, and these images really deliver that message. So you might be, in this case, somebody's looking for skincare. So because you've done some search for skincare, it knows you're in the market for skincare. So now while you're watching YouTube, it'll show you a skincare ad. But at the same time, you're on Google on your phone and going through the news, Google News, and then you see these Discover ads. Or you could be on email. Then on your Gmail, it'll show you some similar ads. So as you can see on YouTube, YouTube Shorts, YouTube in feed, it'll use that inventory to create those demand gen ads. Excuse me. Okay, talking about Google Ads. If you want results, we got to write our ads and the copy of those ads better than our competition, because that's what converts. All right. And there's a blog that we've written. Jen will share that link with you. Again, click on that link, bookmark it, go and read it, because I don't have the time to go and give you everything you need to know. But what's important here is that we got to go and do our keyword research. And based on the research, we got to come up with the strategy. And in this strategy, we got to identify the most valuable search terms or the keywords that our potential clients will use. But not only that they're valuable, we got to make sure that they keep our costs down. They're not as competitive, but yet will help us to achieve our objectives. And everything will depend on your product, your service. And always, what we recommend is focus on quality, the quality of clicks, as opposed to the quantity of clicks that you get onto your website. Again, selecting these keywords are crucial because it's about optimizing your ad spend, making sure that we keep that spend to a minimum while we don't reduce our growth potential. And target the right users as well, right? Not anyone. And, a low number of relevant search terms are great. Okay, so that's what we have to remember. So how do you do the keyword research? Most of you might know, for those who don't know, there's a tool called the Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool, and it gives you ideas. It tells you competition, costs, etc. I'll quickly go in there and I'll probably show you if I can do it very fast. I won't be spending a lot of time. So that's why go and read that blog. That'll be very helpful for you. Getting these keywords right is so crucial. I can't emphasize that anymore. All right, so let's try now and get to, that's one of the blogs, by the way. I have this open. So a little earlier, let me see if I can start again. Okay, this is the Google Ads Keyword Planner. So I'm here, Keyword Planner. And now it's saying discover new keywords. So if I say home builder Sydney and say home renovation Sydney. All right, there you go. By the way, as you can see, there's a default location here. I can go and have a look at that. Yes, it's got Sydney there for me. Sometimes it'll have Australia, and you may want to go and put the exact location. You can even go narrower than Sydney. Okay, so if you, I'm just, as an example, I have done that there. So there you go. And I can come here and I press get results. So as we do this, it tells us, gives us keywords and tells us the average monthly searches for each of these keywords. So this is quite a lot of searches. And it gives us the cost. So the top of the page, low range, and top of the page, this is the top of the page is when you do a Google search, right? So in this case, we said home build Sydney. So these are the top of the page results, okay? So what it's saying is these results are at the low range, so it's always about a bid, right? It will cost you $4.57 for home renovation in Sydney. And home build is what I wanted, right? Anyway, well, I'm sure it's somewhere here. All right, let's get rid of that. So there you go. It's really good we're doing this. Home Builder Sydney has zero to 10 clicks. So, and there's no cost there. So obviously it's not worth doing. So that's where we go home renovations. Right. Build Sydney. And There you go. Builder Sydney has 1 to 10,000 again. The competition is here as well. So this is low, that's medium. But although the competition is low here, the cost hasn't changed. It's still fairly pricey, right? So there you go. You have a list, and there are different prices. This is $1.44, but the search volume is very low. Okay. So you got to always check and choose the right keyword. So that's where the keyword strategy comes into play. And that's really crucial, as I said earlier. It's about getting not a lot of keywords, but getting the right quality of the keywords. All right, so this is another blog, Stop Wasting Money on Google Ads, the hidden cost of the wrong keyword matches. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to talk about keyword match types because this is about stop wasting money, right? So what are keyword match types? So this is where I said the number of variables when it comes to Google ads are a lot. So when you put an ad, it'll want you to know whether you want a broad match, a phrase match, or an exact match. So when you put, say, home builder Sydney, so let's go and see what a broad match is, right? So broad match searches the broader, so you say, let's go home loan Sydney, okay? And your ad will show searches like Sydney home loans, home loan services, home loan companies, which is good. Can you see Sydney is there in different areas? And then it shows home loan aggregators and home loan education services. Now, as you can see, these are not the right, they're not the right ones we're looking for. So when you do a broad match, it gets you the right ones and the wrong ones. And when people click, if people clicked on aggregators, you're not an aggregator. Neither are you an educational service because you're trying to sell home. By the way, this is a different example to the home builder there, right? This is if you're a mortgage broker, because we have quite a few mortgage broker clients, and I can see Peter Sir, welcome. I know you run a mortgage broking business. And so if you use broad match and you get these wrong keywords and people click on it, it can be costly. So that's why we have that blog, Stop Wasting Money on the Wrong Keyword Matches, okay? So the next one I want to talk about are the phrase matches. Phrase matches are not as broad, okay, but still they're fairly broad. They're close variations, but I'll show you some examples. So home builder Sydney, now it'll show us home builder jobs in Sydney. Now, if you're a mortgage broker, this is useless for you. Again, you're not in education, so this is useless for you. Sorry, if you're a home builder, and this is an example for a builder, sorry, not a mortgage broker. Apologies. So home builder designs in Sydney, maybe that's something that's relevant for you. So you just got to be super careful how you use them. The exact matches are, as it says, it's an exact match. It's the most precise way of doing it and shows a high relevance, but it's limited. It's restrictive. So let's see what it means. So you put an exact match for mortgage broker Sydney. What are you going to get? You get the exact match. Okay. So there you go. But it's more restrictive. I spoke about creating compelling ad copy and the importance of making sure that your ad copy is even better than that of the competition, right? So I'm going to talk about crafting effective ad headlines and then making sure they're persuasive. There's urgency in the ad description. So let's have a look at them. So like anything, you have to be concise, but you have to be clear. You don't want to write an essay because there's not much room. Nobody's going to read that essay. we've got to make sure that relevant keywords that we discussed are there, and it improves the relevance, as we said earlier, and we want the right clicks, okay? Make sure you highlight the right value proposition that you're trying to deliver, fast approvals or low interest rates, or probably don't want to say the lowest interest rates, but deliver that value proposition for your business. This is if you're a mortgage broker or a bank. Use numbers and statistics, okay? And because they add credibility, as you know, but it's also relatable. It's very relevant, okay? So it's more than credibility, it adds relevance. And create urgency, it's about limited time offer, make them want to act now or consider it now. Book a meeting now. Check your competition and create better ads. Highlight your key benefits, okay? Example, low interest rates with just fast approvals, using call to actions. Get a free quote today, apply now and save. We know this stuff, right? But the thing is, when you go to craft an ad, we forget these best practices. So it's really important to make sure that we remember this stuff. And that's why I'm covering it in detail. But I also am conscious of time, so I'm trying to go as fast as possible. The next section is targeting strategies that deliver better results, okay, where you save money. But also, I'm going to touch on something called negative keywords and the mistakes to avoid. And this is, again, a very crucial area. I spoke about the number of variables when you do Google Ads. So these are the crucial ones for you to remember. Again, with regard to negative keywords, it's such an important area that can save you a lot of money. This is where businesses bleed money if they don't do it right. So make sure you get this negative keywords right. Read this blog. Again, by the way, as I said earlier, Google Ads are not for everybody to do it as a DIY. But you need to know this stuff, because if you're working with another service provider, you can hold them to account, because they know then that you are an educated buyer. It's very important that you know this stuff, because then you can talk one-on-one with these people. Because the biggest issue that I find customers have is they don't have enough knowledge, and people often don't do the right thing by customers. Geotargeting. Geotargeting is about making sure you're very targeted on the geography, on your targeted locations. So you can target suburbs, cities, regions where you want to focus. You can get really narrow if you want to. We have a client who only wants to focus on the North Shore of Sydney, on particular suburbs. So we get really, really narrow. Exclude certain locations, so you can avoid locations where your service is not going to be of value. And because if you get the wrong clicks, right? If you're a builder and you're doing in a particular area, you don't want clicks from Queensland, because that's going to cost you money. And then you can adjust the bids. Again, this is about looking at the data, reviewing and improving, so that you can continually improving and optimizing the efficiency. So you need to really do this stuff in a strategic way. There are things called in-market audiences. These are audiences, these customers are actively buying. So they are now looking to buy a home, or they're trying to find a builder. So Google knows this, and you can target them, right? But at the same time, you can target a specific audience, and these are called custom audiences. These are people who've gone to your website, or they've gone to some other website, or they've searched for specific keywords before. And so those are those custom audiences. Again, these are the different um, options that you have. Remarketing audiences, again, these are people who showed interest in your product before. They've come into your website and gone and not bought, and you want to remarket them. So now I want to go to negative keywords, which I spoke about before. So let me give you some examples. If you add free or job as a negative keyword, it'll ensure that these keywords don't appear in your when people search for you. Okay, so free financial advice, you probably don't want to give free financial advice to anybody, or a free or as we spoke about finance broker jobs earlier, these are not your domain. If you're a mortgage broker, you want people looking to get a loan, or a car loan, or a housing loan, or investment property loan. So these are the things that you want, but you don't want somebody looking for a job. Okay, so these are negative keywords, and you can give them as negative keywords on the Google Ads platform to make sure that your ads have better relevance. As we spoke about before, it reduces your wasted spend, ad spend. You've got to be really careful with it. And of course, it enhances your click-through rates, your quality scores, and that's really important. And it's about continually looking at improving those negative keywords. And how do you know? Because as you advertise, you will find that there are a lot more negative keywords that you need to add. At the first time you do it, right, you'll add quite a few, but then you'll continue to find others, and you keep adding them. So this is that continuous improvement process that delivers optimized results. Okay, so let me share with you some tips, okay? Exact matches for your most important keywords, okay? That'll save you money from getting all the broad matches or the phrase matches with the wrong type of keywords. Negative keywords, we spoke about that. Phrase matches for medium to low volume keywords. So some keywords, as you saw when you did the keyword research, the volumes are low. So that's why you need to go with a phrase match. So it's, depending on your purpose, it's about doing that research and strategy right. As we said before, be careful how you use your broad matches. A lot of people don't monitor their ad spend carefully enough. This is not a set and forget platform. People think it's a set and forget platform. A lot of the time, even Google reps, Google Ads have reps who people call and get advice from. A lot of the time, the advice even they give is probably not the best advice from the perspective of minimizing your ad spend. Why? Because they're incented for you to spend as much as you can. All right. One of the things you can easily do is, if you're doing your Google Ads, get an audit done. Get one of our subject matter experts to go and look at your ad campaigns. We've seen a lot of improvement that we can do, and that'll save you a lot of money. If you're thinking of doing Google Ads, also have a chat, because sometimes it might not be for you. Okay, so you got to be careful how you use Google Ads platform. Yeah, so let's go and discuss the importance of landing pages. You must be thinking, why are landing pages important, right? I thought keywords were important. I thought, you might think, I thought, getting those designs are important. Now you're telling me that landing pages are important. Copywriting is important. I was talking earlier. So let's see why. Because when somebody comes into your website, you want a conversion. So you're driving traffic to your website. You want them to fill up a form, and you want to make the best impression, because it's a competitive field. You saw that, right? You're competing for somebody to click on your ad, and every time somebody clicks on your ad, you pay them for the compliment. They come to your website. You want to increase your chances of conversion. So you got to get this stuff right. Okay. And when you get your landing pages right, it enhances your quality score. And your quality score is a really good indicator of your success. You must have, I don't have to tell you this, compelling content, not too much, clear and concise. You need to have trust signals. We'll probably discuss that, and improve your user experience massively. So many websites are not good enough to do Google Ads. So that's why I said, go and do an audit with one of our people, and they'll probably tell you what improvements you need to make, not just on the Google Ads platform, but on your website that you're driving traffic to. And also, you got to drive them to the right landing page, depending on the service that you are advertising, okay? Fast load times are important. Navigation must be so easy. All right. So elements of a high conversion website is that when a buyer comes into your website, you have built it understanding your customers' buying behavior. What questions do they have as they come to you? They want to know, who are you? What do you do? How do I trust you? Are you dodgy? These are the questions that they want to know. Tell me more about this product. Who has used it before? What are the testimonials like? So we need to be able to answer all those questions. And the website, through the way it's designed, must look as though it's trustworthy. Again, have a look at that website. Jen will share that link. That website has been done with all the best practice principles in mind. All of this, that website will show. So by the way, at NetStripes, we have different types of packages, but every 10 years or so, right, a massive innovation comes about. This is WebDone. This is an innovation. We worked for more than 10 years. There's nothing like this in the market. For less than $59 a month, you can get a website done that is truly professional, meets all those requirements, and it's done in 7 days. And done to your branding, to your design. I'll play a quick video because most of you will think it's impossible. It's actually probably fairly impossible, but let me show you.
WebDone, the website solution that delivers. Tired of websites that don't work? DIY builders and small providers often fail to deliver results. That's why we created WebDone, a high-converting website builder that delivers in just 7 days. 4 simple steps. Choose a design built with buyer psychology in mind. Provide your branding. Answer a few quick questions. Review and launch live in 7 days. Mobile optimized, conversion focused, and starting from just $59 a month. No hidden fees, no DIY struggles. Book a 15-minute demo today and get a website that works for you.
There you go. That's it. So let me stop sharing the screen for a while. So with WebDone, nobody should be struggling with a landing page or a website that is not professional, that doesn't deliver your business as strongly as possible to your ideal customer. And that's why we built it. So you go and look at your landing page. If you're doing Google Ads, go and look at your landing pages. Make sure they're really good. If they're not good, make sure you get it on WebDone. Even if you are not doing Google Ads, check your websites and make sure they are really professional. We're in 2025, it's the age of AI, and we need to get this stuff right. And it's not expensive, as you saw. We have Jen on the chat here. If you need to know more about WebDANs, talk to Jen. She is the right person for WebDAN. All right, let me run you through a case study of a company that we work with. These guys were spending before, by the way, everybody doesn't spend as much as this, but these guys were spending a lot of money. This was a company, it's like Airbnb for boats or bookings.com for boats and yachts. And so if you want to have an event in the harbor, you'd come here and book a boat or book a yacht, depending on the type of budget you have. And they have boats for all budgets, right? It's a beautiful business, but they were spending a lot of money on ads. And they were bleeding money. They were spending 20 to 30,000 on ads because their business was a growing business and they wanted to get results fast and they wanted to grow fast. Now, by the way, everybody doesn't have to spend so much money. Some people will spend $500. Some people will spend $1,000. Some people will spend 3,000. So depending on your growth plans, your budgets, so you got to consider that. And they were working with a few agencies, some real experts as they felt, but their Google ads were not performing. Then they took it to themselves and they were doing ads themselves. Still, their Google ads were not doing well, but at one time, because they had made a mistake, Google had kind of put a block on their ads. So this is when they came to us. Their return on ad spend wasn't very good, but because they had to show growth of their business to their multiple investors who are high-profile investors, they kept spending. And this was impacting their cash flow. So when they came to us, the first thing we did was we reduced their ad spend by more than 50%, okay? So we said, you're spending too much money, you've got to reduce this ad spend. But by over a period of time, doing a lot of work, our team improved their ad performance by over 100%, okay? So they were spending less and getting much better performance. And that's what you want. Again, that's because of the methodologies we use, and that's based on what we were just, all the best practices that we discussed here and more. Initially, the client was in disbelief that this was possible because their results, but their business cash flow improved dramatically. That is what they wanted. They were now very happy because their cash flows improved. And as a result, just a little over 12 months after that, they were able to sell this business to a billionaire. If you go onto their website, Ahoy Club was the company that bought them, okay? So they're well known. I've seen recently there was a big article about same billionaire about some property they had purchased and was selling, you know, in those pages of all the high value properties. So that's what they expect. That's what they got. So how did we get much better results? Just following the best practices we spoke about. We made sure that campaign structure was so refined, right? And it was a lot more refined than what the other agencies have achieved. We had made sure that we got the keyword strategy right, the right keywords were there, the right locations were there, the right negative keywords were done, the right geo-targeting was done, the copywriting improved, everything improved, right? But more importantly, it's about daily monitoring and refining the multitude of variables, all those variables you saw and more. There are so many other variables. When you start doing this, only you will know within the platform. So is Google Ads, so let's go to the next section. The question you want to ask is this the best option for you? And the suitability will depend from business to business. It'll depend on what goals you're trying to achieve, what your budgets are, and what your industry is as well. Because for some industries, for smaller businesses, there are better options. But for other industries, Google Ads are perfect. Okay. So again, talk to one of our experts and they will be able to guide you with that. For just so that you know, with NetStripes, we have subject matter experts for every area of our business. We don't have generalists, okay? So when you talk to somebody, they will be a subject matter experts in that area. And we're talking here about Google Ads. And if you do it well, this can be a huge growth engine. As FloatSpace found out, it is a huge growth engine. We do FloatSpace is one example. We have multiple examples, including in the finance space. That I use quite a few mortgage broking examples, including in related industries as well. Get an audit of your Google Ads if you're doing Google Ads. That is an imperative. Don't just keep doing it because there are a lot of ways of improving. What are the other options you should consider? SEO is huge. By the way, if you're not doing SEO, the biggest, based on the research, by the way, in my last webinar, I shared this, the number one channel for marketing is search engine based. So it's either Google Ads or search engine optimization. These are the number one channels. It's even higher than television. So number two is television. Number three is word of mouth marketing. Okay. Most of it depend on word of mouth marketing, but this stuff can fall word of mouth marketing. Social media ads come after that, and social media posting comes way lower. Okay. So this is social media marketing, which is the posting part of it. But this, when done right, can be really valuable. And then the social media advertising. So talk to one of our experts and try to work out what is the right mix for you, whether you should do one of them or two of them or none of them. By the way, go to our YouTube channel. Jen will share the link. There's another webinar that I did for finance brokers. So if you're a mortgage broker, I know quite a few mortgage brokers are here. Go and watch this. This is very focused on mortgage broking. There are similarities as well, but this is more focused on mortgage brokers. Next steps, very simple. Don't leave today, right, without booking an advisory. Jen will share the link. Click on that link or go to netstripes.com and talk to an expert is right on the top of the menu, and book a meeting, because it's no point coming and learning here if we don't take some action. So learning is great, and you guys are already ahead of your competition because you're here. A lot of information your competition probably is not aware of, because we do everything from a best practice marketing perspective. And I hope you've enjoyed this session. I hope you've learned quite a bit. Before you go, also tell us, go to the chat and tell us whether you found this valuable. By the way, if you have points of improvement for us, we would love that. We don't look at it as criticism. We look at it as points of improvement, because that's what helps us to keep serving each of you better. Because I know this might be good for some, it might be not good enough for others. But please tell us, give us your points of improvement. But if you did like it, please also say that, because our teams, there's a lot of work that goes into creating webinars like this before I come and present it. Blogs are written by our subject matter experts, our copywriters are working with them. As you know, the webinar invitations go, so there's a marketing team who does that. And I work together with a team to create the content, and I have the pleasure of delivering it to you. So really appreciate your time here. Thank you for joining us.